Hello everyone, I welcome you to my YouTube channel which is dedicated to the preparation of DSSB PGT Commerce. So in this lecture we are going to do chapter number 8 from class 12th of book Business Studies, and this by completing this chapter, which is chapter number 8, the part 1 the of the two books of class 12th business studies will be completed. So let's get started. What is primary purpose of controlling in an organization? How does controlling assist in evaluating the accuracy of standards? What does a good control system ensure about employee performance? How does controlling facilitate coordination in action? What does controlling do to ensure order and discipline in an organization? Which of the following best describes the goal orientation of controlling? At what levels of management is controlling exercised? Why is controlling considered a continuous process? Which aspect of controlling looks forward rather than backward? What does controlling depend on in order to be effective? Why is taking corrective action an essential part of controlling? How does controlling line back to planning? What is the primary function of controlling within an organization? In what way is controlling action oriented? What is one characteristics that make controlling a primary function of management? What aspect of controlling is reflected in its continuous nature? In what way is controlling action oriented? Which feature of controlling indicates its role in managing future performance? What is an essential prerequisite for controlling to take place effectively? Which of the following is not a characteristic of controlling? How does controlling contribute to improving future planning? Which of the following is a key benefit of controlling in terms of resource management? How does controlling impact employee motivation? In what way does controlling ensure efficient use of resources? What is the primary role of controlling in facilitating coordination within an organization? Which of the following reflects how controlling helps in maintaining order and discipline? Which characteristic of controlling emphasizes its role in evaluating past performance? How is controlling described as being pervasive? Why is it controlling considered action-oriented? What is the relationship between controlling and planning? Which feature of controlling ensures it is aligned with organizational goals? Why is planning considered a prerequisite for controlling? What role does controlling play in the effectiveness of planning? How can the effectiveness of planning be measured? What is the key difference between planning and controlling? How can effectiveness of planning be measured? What is the key difference between how do planning and controlling support each other? What is the first step in the controlling process? Why is it important to measure actual performance in the same terms as the standards? What does comparing actual performance with standards help reveal? What is the purpose of analyzing deviation in controlling process? When should corrective action be taken in controlling process? What is the key characteristic of performance standards in the controlling process? Why is it important for performance measurement to be objective and reliable? In the controlling process, what does the final step involve? What happens if actual performance matches the standards? Which method is commonly used to measure actual performance? What is the primary purpose of setting performance standards? How does controlling contribute to effective management? What does the process of comparing actual performance with standards reveal? Why are performance standards important in the controlling process? What should be done if deviations from performance standards are found to be within acceptable limits? How does controlling enhance planning process? What is the one-way controlling can be seen as a forward-looking function? Why is planning considered blind without controlling? What is the relationship between planning and control regarding organizational goals? How does controlling help in improving future planning? What is essential for measuring performance effectively? Why is analyzing deviation important in controlling process? What should be done if performance significantly deviates from standards? How do performance standards aid in the controlling process? In the controlling process, when should corrective action be taken? What does effective controlling provide for future planning? Which function sets the standards that controlling measures against? How does controlling support the planning process? What happens to planning if controlling is not effectively implemented? In what way do controlling and planning reinforce each other? What is the purpose of setting performance standards in the controlling process? How should deviation from performance standards be addressed? Which step in the controlling process involves direct observation measurement of performance? What is a common method used to measure actual performance objectively? When should performance standards be revised in the controlling process? What challenge arises when performance standards cannot be defined in the quantitative terms? Which area is typically difficult to measure quantitatively in correct control system? Why is measuring job satisfaction challenging for control systems? Which type of performance standard is most challenging to establish? Which of the following is an example of external factor that an enterprise cannot control? How does competition impact the effectiveness of a control system? Which factor is typically beyond the control of an enterprise but affects its performance? What is a significant challenge in controlling external factors? Why might employees resist control measures such as surveillance? What is a common form of resistance to control measures by employees? How can employee resistance to control measures be mitigated? What might employees feel when control systems are perceived as invasive? What is a major drawback of implementing a sophisticated control system in a small enterprise? What should managers ensure regarding cost of a control system? Which of the following is a potential cost associated with implementing a control system? What is the key consideration when deciding on the implementation of a control system? What could be a reason for small enterprise to avoid implementing a costly control system? Which factor is crucial in determining the feasibility of a control system for a small enterprise? How can the cost of implementing a control system be justified? Which aspect is not a common concern when implementing a control system? What impact does the inability to set quantitative standards have on performance evaluation? Which of the following is an example of a qualitative aspect that's difficult to control? How can organizations address the challenge of setting quantitative standards for human behavior? Which characteristic of employee performance is hardest to quantify? How should organizations manage the impact of uncontrollable external factors on their control system? Which external factor can directly affect an enterprise control system effectiveness? What is the key strategy for dealing with external factors in control systems? Which factor is least likely to be influenced by an organization's internal control system? What's a common reaction from employees when they perceive control measures as intrusive? How can managers address concerns about perceived invasiveness of control measures? What is the potential effect of high employee resistance to control systems? Which strategy can help minimize employee resistance to new control systems? What factors should be considered when evaluating the cost of a control system? What is a major concern for small enterprises regarding the implementation of costly control systems? What should managers consider to ensure cost effectiveness of a control system? Why might a costly control system be a burden for a small business? Which aspects should be avoided when implementing a control system to keep cost manageable? How can enterprises ensure the cost of control system does not outweigh the benefits? What is the key consideration when implementing a control system in a resource constrained environment? Why should the benefits of a control system be carefully assessed before implementation. What's a, what is a significant problem when trying to set standards for employee creativity? Which performance aspect is most difficult to establish quantitative standards for? What type of performance metrics are typically more challenging to measure? Why might setting quantitative standards for customer service be difficult? What's a common external factor that influences business performance but cannot be controlled directly? How can businesses address the challenge of uncontrollable external factors? What is a typical response to external economic downturns that an organization cannot control? Which external factor can impact the cost structure of a business but is beyond internal control? What's a common reason employees resist changes in control systems? How can management reduce resistance to new control measures? What can be an effect of high resistance to control measures on the organizational culture? Which approach can help in gaining employee buy-in for new control measures? What is the key consideration when evaluating the cost of control system for an organization? Which factor is not a major concern when implementing a control system in terms of cost? What can be a consequence of poorly designed control system in terms of cost? What is an important step to ensure the cost effectiveness of a control system? How can organizations justify the cost of a control system? Which of the following is a potential hidden cost of implementing a control system? What should be the primary focus when assessing the feasibility of a control system? What's a common way to manage the cost of implementing a new control system? यहाँ पर हमारा ये पार्ट 1 की जो बुक थी ये ख़त्म हो जाती है. इसके बाद हमारा नेक्स्ट चैप्टर होगा फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट. ओके, थैंक यू.